That scene?
No, the idea
show?
of the whole idea of episodes that you are going to be this self-obsessed guy with a massive ego.
Yeah, you know, originally it was Jeffrey Clark and David Crane called me up out of the blue, kind of. I mean, I kept in touch with them over the years. They're great guys. They're like my two uncles, you know. I've known them forever. And said, hey, what are you doing? I said, nothing, really. Kind of hanging around. They said, we got an idea. Let's get together for lunch. So I got together, and they pitched me pretty much the whole first season, which, I mean, like beat by beat by beat, all the first 7 episodes, and they hadn't put a pen to paper yet, and it was just what you see.
Because it is, I mean, you are playing yourself, but I mean, it's a, I hope, a very exaggerated, but I mean, nobody by any stretch would kind of think, oh, is that what he's like in real life? It sort of takes the mick of celebrity almost, doesn't it? And the sort of preconceptions that people have.
Yeah, it's sort of, you know, that was my one reservation. I was thinking, well, what do you mean I'd be playing myself? I'm not really comfortable with that. I'm a little more private than that. And they said, well, you know, we're not making a documentary, so it'd be, basically it's the public's perception of a celebrity, and we just use my name, kind of be. And it's like rough parallels, like we were both on Friends, and we both look the same. Aside from that, it's not very accurate.
Well, you say that they had to persuade you to do it, and are you doing anything? And well, not very much, because you'd had the huge success of Friends. Then you had 2 seasons of Joey, which we loved, but you know that didn't necessarily hit quite so big. And then after that, I think you really decided, I'm going to take a break from all of this.
Yeah, you know, it started by, I had a conversation with my agent. I said, you know, I'm just kind of burned out, you know, I'd gotten divorced, and I just wanted some time off. And I said, let me take a year and just not do anything, so don't call me for a year. So he called me a year later, and I said, let me take another year. And then he called me another year later, and I said, surprised you still remember me, I'm gonna need another year. And it turned into 5 years of just kind of being a dad and goofing around. And
was this on the ranch?
Yeah, out at the ranch, and I went through a mohawk phase and all kinds of crazy. There's no photos of any of this, but
just you on the farm.
Yeah, cutting my own hair. Pretty strange.
I guess the good thing about being able to do that and being in that position is that then you can absolutely pick and choose what you want to do. So when you do eventually come back, it's absolutely the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, there were some things that had come across my desk, you know, over that 5 years, and good projects and stuff that's, you know, still in the air, and I wasn't ready to go back to work, and it wasn't something that was, you know, I kind of had some trust issues with writing, and, you know, when I found out it was going to be, when it's David Crane, you know, I had such a good experience on Friends with him as a writer that, you know, of course I went and listened to what he had to say, and I just think they're so gifted in I can't say enough good things about the writing on episodes. It's just the economy of their writing. I mean, they have the ability to drive story in a funny way that develops character, and it's so complex. There's like no fat on the bone whatsoever. It's just really, really clean, good writing.
What's interesting about it is that it's obviously it's American writing, but it's got a real British feel about it, actually.
It does, and I don't know if that's a case because you have Steve Mangan and Tamsin Gregg in there with their sort of delivery of all their lines is very under, and they really go for the reality of the situation, whereas, you know, my people know me most for, like, Friends was a multi-camera live audience, so that has that type of performance, when it's a live audience, sort of tends itself to a big arch version of reality. And with this, it's a single camera, and it's much more about each particular moment, you know, and more like a film. And
well, it ended on a real cliffhanger, because you did actually end up in a very brief relationship with Beverly.
Yeah.
Nice way of saying one night stand.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was that brief.
Very PC. Very nice. Yeah.
We've got a clip. Here you go.
You smell like cinnamon.
Oh, it's Joey.
What?
When Friends was really hot, they got me to do this cologne called Joey.
No.
Yeah, I even got to pick out the scent myself. Turns out I don't have the most sophisticated nose. Plus, the day we did it, I was really hungry.
Which is why you now smell like a cinnamon bun.
Hey.
So, as you say, it's clear no audience there, and the difference that makes. I was actually in the audience of Friends in LA, and I am in an episode, or at least my laugh is in an episode.
I thought that was you.
Yeah, that was me. And it's your line. It's when Joey is frightened of some books scare him, and he has to keep them in the freezer, and he puts his books in the freezer.
Right.
And I think it's Rachel says, "Have you tried reading Little Women?" And you say, "Little Women. How little are they?"
Right.
And it made me laugh so much. And I laughed faster than anyone else in the audience. I burst out laughing. You could hear me laugh. And I thought, if they don't retake this, I'm in the show. And they didn't. I am in the show.
Right on.
Forever on tape.
You were all taken out, weren't you? Before Friends started, they took you out and said, you're going to have life together. It will never be the same again.
Yeah, that was Jimmy Burrows. Jimmy Burrows is, gosh, he must be probably one of the most successful television directors in the business. He directed like every episode of Taxi, every episode of Cheers, almost all of the Frasers, and he's really a legend in the business. And when he talks and gives you a piece of advice, you say, okay, so you must have the crystal ball and you know what you're talking about. But he took the cast to Las Vegas for the weekend, and we had dinner. This was just after we shot the pilot. The show hadn't aired yet, and the show was, I think, it had been picked up already, but we hadn't gone back into production. And he said, we sat at Caesar's Palace in the main dining room at the table right, I mean, there couldn't be a more central table in the room. And there's this big round table, and we sat there, and he said, okay, look around. This is the last time the six of you would be able to go out to dinner together, and it won't
Wow.
be weird. And, you know, you think, oh, what are you talking about? Come on, that's not, what is that supposed to mean? And he was right. It's
That's
weird.
incredible.
I don't think anybody can imagine the scale of what was about to happen, what was around the corner.
Yeah, that was a bizarre ride. I mean, it was fantastic, and I feel really fortunate to have been a part of it. And I learned a lot. It was like a 10-year education. You know, I learned from all the actors. I learned from the writing. I learned from the experience as a whole, production, like how to manage success. And it was great. It was probably the best 10 years of my life.
There's always talk of getting everyone back together again, and certainly, and that's what obviously people who love the series want it to happen. But where are you with that? Would you ever get back together again and do maybe a movie or something?
You know, it's funny you should mention that, because here they are!
No, don't. I'd cry.
Come on in! No, you know, that seems to be this a big thing in the rumor mill these days, but it won't happen. Because that show was about a finite period of time in everyone's life where school is over and life hasn't quite started yet, and you're not living at home, and you're kind of your friends or your family, and at that point when you're sort of deciding which direction your life is going to go. And to go past that, it's almost like the book is better than the movie, you know, to try and show what those characters are doing now. You know, they all look like this. They're old and gray. Nobody wants to see that.
When did it start, by the way?
Started probably, I think, the second season of Friends. I've been started with just a little on the side.
A little bit of colour, doing a bit of
little
colouring.
more, and when they started getting all the way up to the top.
Yeah. Yeah, look what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm catching up to you.
What happens? Yeah, absolutely.
I love
it's lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Great to be here.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was
We've,
good, wasn't it?
we found the clip. So the one that we were talking about in there. So this is when I went to Los Angeles to watch, because we were such massive fans of Friends.
Yeah.
To watch an episode of it being made, which was an experience in itself. So you.
We'll read Little Women.
All right, you got it.
All right?
Okay.
Okay.
And now, Rach, these little women,
Yeah.
how little do they? I mean, are they, like, scary little?
It's only brief. You may have missed it. Once more, short version. Short version.
How little do they? I mean, are they, like, scary little?
You can so hear it.
I was so thrilled.
And you've got a recognisable laugh as
I
well.
was so thrilled.
Very good.
Right, episode is on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. on BBC Two, and still to come.